Hello, my Teaserking family. Well, what a day we had yesterday. Very, very strong. There was one game we got surprised. The other game was very disappointing. The surprise was well, let's go through my locks. Then we'll go through so we won't spend time because I want to do the pros. Again, it's daylight savings time. It's really 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So if we go through the locks, first lock is UCLA over. They get 90. We're laying 60. Second lock would have been Utah over, but we don't know if Rising's playing, so we don't play the game. And they do go over on the last minute of the game, but we don't play it. Next lock is Oklahoma Baylor over 57 and then 61. They score 75 points. Easy lock. So that was the big 27-unit lock, was the overs. UCLA, Arizona State, we got 50 to 30-something in that one, and 38-35 Baylor, Oklahoma. Both good offenses, and Oklahoma's like a great over because they don't have a defense. Our next lock is Iowa State under, which stays under pretty good. It's a 45-point game, and they give up we're under 55, 56. So that was beautiful. And that's what you expect. The Iowa State's good defensive team. Now, here's where we get screwed is Oak State, Kansas. And this is another situation where I'm looking at injuries and I don't see Spencer Sanders. Now, the questions have got to come up. They lose 48-0. I look at the box score. I still see Spencer Sanders playing, and I don't see an injury to him. So I'm like confused. And then, as I told you, Oak State's a 2.5-point favorite. Oh, okay, he's playing. And then it goes to Kansas -1.5. And I mentioned on the show yesterday, avoid this game unless you see Oak State go back to favorites because Spencer Sanders was still questionable. We don't know if he's playing. I look in the afternoon. Finally, the line goes Kansas -360. So at that point, it's a trap, or you tease it under because of the over, and it almost gets over. It gets to 53. The Oak State quarterback comes in, gets 16 points. I was a little disappointed. Kansas doesn't get in the 40s like they usually do, or that would have made it a winner. And all of a sudden, they got a running back who runs for 250 yards in the game. Very strange. So I don't know if it's a little bit of weather. There wasn't the Illinois game and the Northwestern game. It was kind of windy, but I don't know. But either way, so we get screwed there because there again is no injury on Sanders, and yet he doesn't play because he's injured. I heard he hurt his shoulder, was in the sling. But I'm hearing that yesterday, or Friday night, I think I heard it. And I warned everybody yesterday, and it's just, what the hell is going on? They're not listing their injuries. All they listed was a few wide receivers, and it doesn't matter. I mean, that's not going to hurt them. So, again, we got to be careful with Oklahoma State and just ignore them until Sanders plays. Now, Rising did play a full game, and he did good. He looked good. So now we can go back to Utah. So you kind of get screwed on an easy Utah-Arizona over that you don't play because, again, I'm not going to get fucked by Rising where 10 minutes before the game he says, I don't want to play. So in the Oak State game, now we know Sanders is out. We won't play him. So that was one lock loser, unfortunately. The other was the Washington State-Stanford game, which is under 55, and it's 42-7 at halftime. And I'm looking, and I look at the plays. Stanford fumbled the ball 4 times in a row. One play fumble. Washington State touchdown. I mean, they score. When you see these quick touchdowns, it's because of the turnovers. So Washington State kept scoring because of the turnovers. The quarterback didn't have a great day, but I had 4 fumbles, and I think 2 we didn't get 4th down. So it was just a mess in that game. Unfortunately, I've won a lot of games Washington State under this year, so it was Stanford. This was a beautiful under, but you can't project 5 fumbles. Like the Wake Forest game, you can't project 5 turnovers in the third quarter, leading to the points. You can't project that's going to happen. That's an anomaly. That's betting. That's why nothing's 100%. That's why we don't bet $1 million on a game. That's why you just kind of, okay, we got everything went according to the way it should, and off we go. Next big play, didn't lock it, should have, was Georgia. And the lock should have been under in this Georgia-Tennessee game. I saw 65, and I know I made the comment, Georgia never is going to play a 72-point game. And I was a little surprised it was 24-6 at halftime that Georgia, I thought they'd win 40-17 or so, 27-13. It's about right. What you ought to understand about Georgia, they put so much pressure on the quarterback. I think he got sacked 8 times. And if you didn't get sacked, I thought I read 20 hurries. This is what they do to you. They just attack you, and they got the speed. So it doesn't matter. Alex said, their best players out. It doesn't matter. They're loaded, and it's the system, and they just come after you, and they got their backups are just as good. So they just dominate you. And Hooker had no time to throw, and Georgia just kind of prances down the field, power running, run the clock. It's 27-6 the whole fourth quarter, and then a late touchdown by Tennessee. So another big, easy win. I mean, I'm laying 2 or 2.5 with Georgia. Really a piece of cake. That once I thought about it, I never worried about it again. I want to bet offensive teams against weak defenses, not against strong defenses. And I made that point in the Wake Forest game, which Wake Forest lost, again, against a good defense. And I thought I made it in one other game where they were playing a very strong defense, and they, like Purdue, and they played a strong defense, and they didn't show up. So you don't want to fuck with these strong defenses with an offensive team. You want to play them against a weak defense. So Georgia, easy win. That was our free pick. The next lock, should have been lock, was Kansas State, Texas over. I had lock circled, but I went with the Oak State game again, not knowing that Sanders was out, or I would have locked this one. Another easy over, 48. It was 48 at halftime, basically. Texas beats them. Pretty close game, and Kansas State's a very good team. So that goes Alabama, LSU over. Unbelievable how that game went over. Touchdown for Alabama with 4 minutes left. Touchdown for LSU with a minute left. And I said to myself, the only way I can win this is I got to go to overtime, because it was 21-17. And I just can't get there. Then it goes 24-21. And I said, that's a winner, because I have Alabama at 56. So I got it over 50, and it's 24-21. So if Alabama scores a touchdown, I win. If they kick the field goal, goes to overtime, I win. So fortunately, they drive down. I get the field goal. It's 24-all, and then that's it. And then touchdown. Man, does Alabama cheat? It's unbelievable. I'm watching calls. There was a fumble. The guy strips it. But because the Alabama guy had touched the ball and he was out of bounds, it goes to LSU. It goes back to Alabama. What kind of rule is that? LSU clearly recovered it. Just they cheat so bad for Alabama. It's like, this is how you got to beat them. You got to really drive the stake in. The next lock was Houston SMU. Alabama was not a lock. I just wanted to talk about Houston SMU. What a lock that was. Over 60. That game hit 140. It was, 70-something to 60-something. 140 points. It was over 80 at halftime. Now that's a lock. That one really should have been played with either Iowa State or Kansas State, Texas. Then I doubled down on the locks. I played UCLA in 2 teasers. I played Oklahoma in 2 teasers. And I played Iowa State in 2 teasers. Now it's like I'm feeling much better with my locks, and I played them. The only one, again, was the Washington State one, which what are you going to do about it? The other free play was Clemson, Notre Dame. Again, Clemson, the coach is too stubborn to play the better quarterback, which is like New England not playing Zappy. I don't get it. A little bit I kind of get Clemson's because he's a dual purpose quarterback, and that's politically the right thing to do and play the running. He can run and pass, but he sucks. And he threw some interceptions. Again, a block punt. How the fuck does that happen? And he never plays the backup. And you got to really wonder about this coach because he's lost his mind. Hey, Sean. No, that's what we said. That's what Georgia is. You can only beat them with another defensive team. That's what's so special about them. That's why we bet defense, and that's why I lock Georgia under every week. But the 1 week against Vanderbilt, it's just they're going to pressure you. You're not scoring, but they're not the type of team that really is explosive. They're like, we're going to dominate you. We're going to run it down your throat. The tight end, they just beat you. Their quarterback's way underrated. He's very good. And this is what Georgia does. They suffocate you, and you can't beat them with offense. You can only beat them. You need a defensive team to beat them. And I don't know, who you're going to put in there that can even touch them. LSU has no chance. Probably like a Kansas State or TCU's got no chance. Maybe Utah, they have a pretty good defense. Rising, maybe that can do it, but otherwise, there's nobody. And I believe they could beat like the Detroit Lions. I would believe Georgia would beat the Detroit Lions without a problem, laying 2 touchdowns. So Clemson doesn't switch quarterbacks. Clemson gets buried against a weak Notre Dame team who's lost to Marshall. They lost to Stanford. How the fuck do you lose to Stanford 15-14 and then you beat Clemson? It's not really their offense. They played decent defense, which I thought I had under circled also, but it wasn't an under game. Clemson didn't show up. They need to fire the coach because he obviously is biased to the quarterback, but can't spot the better quarterback sitting on the bench. And he really needs to be – he's really lost his mind because what happened – why do you lose? Because basically teams go down, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State at times, USC at times when you don't have a quarterback. That's the key position. And when you have a bad one in is when all of a sudden the good team, Michigan, for years was struggling because they didn't have a quarterback, right, for 4 or 5 years. Now they don't have one either this year either, but they're running the ball, their power running it. Anyway, so that was it. Fresno State, Haener came back and lit it up. So now we got Haener. Now we got Rising. We don't have Spencer Sanders. But what's pissing me off is they're not telling us. Spencer Sanders was not on any injury report. I looked at covers. I looked at Yahoo. I looked everywhere. I didn't see him on an injury report. Rising, I did see this week. He was listed as injured, which is okay. I didn't play Utah, right? It cost me a lock because I would have locked him over against Arizona. That was a better lock than UCLA, Arizona State. But I didn't lock him because, okay, now he's not playing. I don't know. But I get fucked on Oak State because now I don't know what to do now. What do I do? Do I trap the under? Well, I can't because I need the Iowa State game to win because that was the lock. So I can't, without the first game winning, I can't really take the second game. Therefore, I don't know what to do. Do I play the under straight? But the under went down to 60. So now I'm teasing at 60 and I'm under at 60. So I basically would have neutralized the bet. So I let it go, figuring that I did get 16 points from Oak State. And I thought I'd get my 55 or my 45-50 from Kansas because they're pretty explosive. But I didn't get enough from Oak State and never would have went over without Sanders. But how do you know he's not playing? So, I mean, all I can do is look at the injury list and trust it. And it's becoming more and more difficult. I play the games early because I want to, like the UCLA went from 61. One of them went from, what was it? I don't know, one went from 57 to 61. And the other one went from 60. I think UCLA went from 63 to 66. So you're getting these teams the line moves 4 or 5 points. So you got to bet it early if you know you're going to bet it over. However, you have to trust that the players are playing, and that's what are you going to do? So that's really the hard part is you have to assume the injury report's going to be correct, and that's where I find that Vegas being involved with this with draft BetMGM and DraftKings is really fucking everybody over because they're now not putting in injuries. There's these strange laterals. There's let's go on 4th down. That's a good way to cheat. Well, we'll go 4th and 1 at our own 25, and we didn't make it. Oops, and they score. Oops, and we don't cover. I'm noticing the Clemson game. Well, there was a couple of games. Well, like LSU yesterday, had the ball at the 2-yard line, 4th and goal, kicked your field goal. They almost lost the game because they threw and didn't make it. What are you doing? I don't know. I don't like LSU. I mean, I don't like the quarterback. You got great receivers there, but I don't really like him. He's a fast runner, but again, you got Bote and these great receivers. I don't want a running quarterback. I want a throwing quarterback. I want Joe Burrow out there. So anyway, I still don't understand LSU. Alabama is what they are. I'm glad they lost because now they're done, right? They've got 2 losses plus the other 2 close games. So they should have lost to Texas. And if A&M gives the ball to the running back, they have 4 losses. And that's about what Alabama is this year. They don't run the ball, and the defense can't handle this new style. Like Hooker lit them up. And then yesterday, Daniels lit them up, really? So I don't know. I don't like it. All right, let's go to the pros. So daylight savings is only 11:30, not 12:30. I didn't even know it. I was staying up for the UCLA score. And I'm looking at my computer, and it's 1 o'clock, and boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock again. And I'm like, how did that happen? Oh, it must be daylight savings. So we get an extra. So even though it's 12:30, it's really 11:30. So let us look at the line. As of 11:27 on Sunday morning, we've got New England 4.5. That just moved. It was 4.5, went to 5.5, went back to 4.5 and 40.5. Buffalo 10.5, 45.5, down from 11.5. 45.5 stayed. Miami's 4, down from 4.5. Look at these little half-point things, and the over/under is now 46.5. Minnesota, Washington. Minnesota is laying 3 and 43.5. That line has not moved. I think it was a little 3.5, went down to 3 the other day, and it's still 3. Green Bay 4, 49.5, up from 3.5, and the 49.5 still there. San Diego is 2.5, down from 3, 49.5. This is a real wild game, San Diego, Atlanta. Both teams' trends are negative. So if you bet against San Diego, you win. You bet against Atlanta, you win. So that's the way the trend is. Cincinnati 7, 42.5 against Carolina, hasn't moved. Oakland 2.5, 47.5 against Jacksonville, hasn't moved. Arizona 1.5, 48.5. That spread hasn't moved. Tampa Bay 3, 42.5, hasn't moved. Kansas City 12.5, 45.5, hasn't moved. Baltimore 1.5, 47.5, down from 2.5. Now both Andrews and Bateman, the receivers for Baltimore, the tight end, the receiver, are out. So lots of luck there. I was going to play it over. Now I just took New Orleans. So those are the lines. So let's check if we can find. So I just gave you the Baltimore injuries. So let's go to injuries. And I'm only going to talk about injuries that I see here that are meaningful. So we start with Arizona. They're at home against Seattle, and I'll give you a nice trend on that. So Connor's probable. Murphy, the cornerback, is probable. The other one, Matthews, out. Kicker's probable. Lineman's probable. Buda Baker, the nice safety, is questionable. So I don't really think that matters too much. Atlanta. Cordell Patterson's probable. Hello. Again, he's been out with the knee, and all of a sudden he's ready to go. So there you're good for that. I like Atlanta. Well, I like Atlanta over today. Bunch of outs. Anybody that I know. I mean, there's so many players that I've never heard of. Baltimore, I've talked about. Gus Andrews is also doubtful. Andrews is doubtful with the shoulder. Ojabo is probable from Michigan. Peters is questionable. Dobbins is out. Bateman's out for the year, so he ain't coming in. You might get Andrews, but he's doubtful. So if he does, how long is he going to play? Buffalo, you got a lot of probables. Von Miller, probable. Brown. Milano, questionable. I heard of him. I like his cookies. Carolina, a lot of probables. Chuba Hubbard is out with an ankle, but the backup is better. Now, what's really confusing is Mayfield is not on the list, but P.J. Walker's the one doing the quarterbacking, and he looks better than half these quarterbacks. I got no problem with P.J. Ryan Williams, Rams are a lock. Rams win straight up. Is that a? Do you want my opinion on that, Ryan, or are you now a handicapper? The Bears. And if you bring that into my class, I want a reason. And are you guaranteeing, like, if my guys bet the Rams and they lose, then you're going to pay everybody off? Is that how you're going to do it? Chicago, lineman playing, DB playing, O lineman playing. Pringle's questionable more. So they're pretty healthy. Now the Bears, you can't look at their numbers because if you look at the last 2 weeks, they light up New England with 33, which we know has a good defense. They shut out the Lions. Then they go and light up Dallas, who nobody does, and that's a 49-28 game. So all of a sudden, the Bears have an offense, and you did it against New England and Dallas. Conversely, Detroit against New England and Dallas gets shut out and gets 6 points on Dallas. That shows you the difference. They've been running Fields because he can't throw. So he'll run for 200 yards, throw for 100. So he's a lot like Atlanta with Mariota. So it's just a matter of time until they figure out what to do with these guys. Basically, you got to do what Georgia does and just bring, blitz, but you got to get there. And that's why Georgia's so successful. But in this case, the Bears are not what they have. If you looked at the Bears for the year, you can't because they've changed to the 2 years. Green Bay is very weak off. Hey, we'll have a good day. Okay. Cincinnati. Let's see. Oregon's probable. Burrow. Who are we missing? We're missing Perrine's probable. Chase mid-December, unfortunately. And that makes him a whole different team because he'd get the ball and he'd run 50 yards for a touchdown. So they lose that. They got to drive more. So it's a big loss to Cincinnati. And Burrow knows him inside and out. So it's not easy just to replace him and he'll throw to T. Higgins. He doesn't know T. Higgins like he knows Chase from LSU. Cleveland, are they even playing? I'm not going to waste time if they're not. I don't think Cleveland are. A lot of outs. Six teams out. Dallas is out. Denver's out. Detroit, they're always out. Even when they're in, they're out. Detroit, let's see. He sucks. Swift is probable. he'll play about 5-6 plays, then he'll be out. Reynolds, wide receivers, doubtful. Regno, the center's probable. Bunch of no names. They wonder why they never win. Look at these names. So really nothing there. Just the running back Swift is supposed to be playing. I don't know if that's good or bad. Green Bay, let's see, linebacker out, linebacker questionable. Rodgers probable with the thumb. So the thumb's bothering him. Obviously not. He can still throw with it. I don't think he's the problem. The problem is the line and the receivers. Watson receiver questionable. Lazard receiver questionable. So they might play. They're questionable. And Randall Cobb's out. And that's what's really hurting him is Carr and Lazard, who he can go to, are out. That's why Green Bay looks like shit. Houston, they are playing. Are they playing anybody? No. Oh, they already played Philadelphia. Okay. I thought they were playing this week. Indy's got New England. Center probable, cornerback. Matt Ryan's out, but it doesn't matter because he's been replaced. Now, here's the key injuries. Jonathan Taylor, running back, is out. But the question is the backup. And this is the pro, so the backup isn't as bad as you think. I think he had a good game, whoever he is, last time. So it's just Taylor out. Jacksonville, they got the smallest injury list, right? They got a cornerback who's out and a questionable receiver. Otherwise, as long as they have Trevor Lawrence, they suck. Kansas City, what's going on here? Probable tackle, probable linebacker, probable defensive tackle. McKinnon, running back, probable. Hardman, probable. Tony's all of a sudden Tony's healthy. On the Giants, Tony had a hamstring for the whole year. All of a sudden he goes to KC. He's healthy. He's playing. Funny how that works when you got Mahomes as your quarterback or Brady or Rodgers. All of a sudden, I'm not injured. I don't even think Julio Jones is on the injured list for the first time in 5 years. San Diego, Carter, wide receiver, don't know, probable. Tight end, out. Guards, probable. That's good news. DL, out. That's good news. Eckler, probable. That's good news. Keenan Allen is out again with a hamstring. I didn't know that. Palmer, wide receiver, is playing. Williams, out. The other receiver, so he's missing 2 receivers today. Kelly, the running back's out. Bosa, early December. So San Diego's got their, although they do have Eckert, and they do have some receivers, they'll probably throw more than a tight end in the backs. The Rams, Williams, I never heard of, is out. Cam Akers is probable. Von Jefferson, probable. Cooper Kupp, probable. As long as Kupp's probable, then Stafford will have somebody to throw to. Higbee, the tight end, is questionable with the neck. Probably won't play then. That's about it. Oakland, why are they a road favorite? Waller, tight end, doubtful, hamstring. Devontae Adams, probable with the flu. Derek Carr, probable with the back, although the way he played last week, he should be out for a month. Hollins, wide receiver, probable. So it looks like Oakland will have some weapons, although how the hell they lose 29-0 last week? I watched that game. I still can't figure it out. He was horrible. He couldn't hit anybody, and New Orleans looked like a freaking Super Bowl team the way they played last week. Miami at the Bears. What do we got? Probable, safeties are going to play. Who cares? Waddle, probable. Really, it's just Waddle and the other receiver. Good God. They have like 30 guys on the injured list. It's unbelievable. Minnesota, they are also a road favorite at Washington. It's funny how Washington's a better team that Heineke plays than before with Heineke out. Hey, Greg or John, are the Raiders going to win, sir? I don't know how you can bet the Raiders. First of all, why are they a road favorite? Now, luckily they're playing Jacksonville, but they suck. I mean, they got shut out by New Orleans. And New Orleans is not like the 49ers or Dallas defensively. They're an over defense, and they got shut out. I would not bet the Raiders as a road favorite, especially. So you tell me, Greg and John, you're a Raider fan. Did they fly from Vegas to New Orleans, back to Vegas, back to Jacksonville, or did they fly to New Orleans, play the game, stay on the East Coast, and now play Jacksonville? Which one did they do? I'm a 4-hour flight in Detroit from Vegas, so I don't know if I'd be flying back and forth, but we'll see. Maybe you have that answer. Minnesota, a lot of probables of guys I've never heard of. Thielen's probable. So I don't see Cook on here, and I don't see Jefferson, so that's a good sign. The Giants are off. The Jets, Jets. Robinson, the running back, probable. He's already hurt his knee. Uzama, tight end from Cincinnati, probable. Wide receiver Davis is out. Hall's out, we know. So they're pretty healthy, the Jets, Jets. New England, favorite over Indy. Oh, my God. First team to 10 wins this game. Running back I'd never heard of, Harris. A bunch of nobodies out, questionable. Linebacker, questionable. Strong. Slater, wide receiver, question. Never heard of him. Bunch of O linemen, DBs, wide receiver out. So really, they don't have anybody on the team that if he is injured, it's going to matter on New England because Mr. Brady ain't there anymore. New Orleans, Monday night against Baltimore. Let's see, anybody. Cornerback, Lattimore is out. Thomas, big surprise there is toe. He's out. But that's not a worry. Jarvis Landry's questionable. Winston, who cares? Ingram's late November with a knee, but we don't care about him. And we don't see Kamara. That's a good sign. So Kamara's the whole team. Philadelphia has already played. Pittsburgh is off, I believe. Pitt. So there's 6 teams off. That's ridiculous. Niners are off. Seahawks, all right. We like Seattle today. Probable safety. Noah Fant, tight end, probable. That's good news. Goodwin. Is Goodwin, did they trade for him from Tampa? He's out with the groin. Tyler Lockett, probable. Metcalf, probable. That's all I care about. Okay, so they're playing. That's all I care about. Tampa Bay. Okay, Ryan, what are you doing, Ryan? Why are you putting these little notes in? Not sure, but if they were smart, they would fly to Jacksonville from New England. The coaching sucks so bad. McDaniel is a horror. Well, that's the problem. You've got to bet the coach, right? We would bet Jimmy Johnson and Bill Walsh and Chuck Noll and John Madden and Lombardi and all the way through and Bill Parcells, even Ditka. You would bet them. Joe Gibbs on Washington. Who are you going to bet on now? The only coach you can possibly bet on. And you thought it was the Rams coach. No. And maybe you're looking at the at Coach Pete. I think it's the only one. You can't bet Belichick. He keeps playing Jones. So let's see why anybody doesn't like Tampa. Winfield, all right. He's all pro, safety, out. Great tight end, out. Gage, who cares? Julio Jones, probable with the knee. Mike Evans, probable. There you go. He's got receivers. Murphy Bunning's playing. That's good news. Another cornerback, Davis, is probable. D. Lineman Hicks is probable. So they know they have to win this game. Bernard, we don't care about as long as Fournette plays. Tennessee, Tannehill is probable. Who are they even playing? They got Kansas City. Good luck, boys. Chart, Jones, they're pretty pumped up to play him. Henry, probable with the foot. So he does have some sort of foot injury, but he's probable. He probably got tired from running the ball 50 times last week. So I would say Tannehill's playing. I think the only way to beat KC is to run it down their throats. Washington, the Redskins, Mayo linebacker, out. McKissick out, good running back. Chase Young out, no surprise. I'm surprised he played at all. Tony Brown, Wentz out. That's good news. Dotson up, my receiver from Baylor. So with all that mess, we kind of have our things. So Ryan, you're getting a bit aggressive with we don't want your picks unless you give us a reason. And you're not a handicapper, and I don't want people listening to you. If you don't have a reason for your picks, I don't want my guys influenced, because I tell people not to be influenced by that. Not sure what I mean. Okay, so let me give Ryan a reason. So I'm in the car going swimming yesterday. You need to give a reason. I give explanations why every pick I make, right? So what do? I tell people, don't listen to ESPN, don't listen to BetMGM, because these people have no clue, but they influence. So I'm in the car going to swim, and the Tennessee-Georgia game pops up. This professional handicapper, who's the best, and they haven't met me yet, says he likes Tennessee. And 80% of the money in Vegas is on Tennessee. Yet the line goes Georgia way. So explain that to me, because you can't. If all the money's going on Tennessee, the spread goes down. Spread went up. Everybody loves Tennessee. Everybody loves Tennessee. And then, so if one of you were listening, you'd go, Teaserking, we want Tennessee. And I gave you the reason we wanted Georgia as their freaking defense, and they're not going to have time to throw. And he had 20 pressures in the game. That's why we bet Georgia. You have to have foundation and a reason to make the pick. Is it a weak defense? So you give. So let's look at your game. The Rams are a lock. Why would the Rams be a lock? They freaking lost to the Niners 24-9 in a must-win game at home. Stafford sucks. He thinks he's won a Super Bowl. He's all done. Tampa, obviously, if Julio Jones is playing, it's a must-win game. They're not in first place. They're 3-4. They need the game at home. If we look at the teams, the Rams don't have a very good defense, and they don't have an offense. Tampa is struggling offensively because they don't have receivers. However, Julio Jones is playing today. Fournette's playing, and their defense is good. And I don't think they have Winfield back, but they have about 4 other defensive players back today. So I don't know if you're teasing the Rams +9 or +3. +3 is not a lock. +9, I don't feel is a lock. I like the game under. I wouldn't play it. I would play the game under, because you're not going to get offense from the Rams. They don't have any. You're pressuring Stafford. They don't. Maybe he runs with Cam Akers, but there is absolutely no way I'm not taking the Rams in 9. Because now Tampa, and I've told you their backs are against the wall, but they suck. Well, now they're in second place, and now they're really like, okay. And they put up a 22 on Baltimore last week. So they're starting to score. So I think Tampa 20-0 here. I think this is an under game and a low scoring game. I don't know how you could take the Rams in 3 and call it a lock. That's what I don't like. You like Detroit in 10. Green Bay D is very weak. Have you seen Detroit's D? Detroit has the worst defense in the league. Detroit's a W team. They have an over defense. Green Bay has an even defense. Green Bay's not bad. They held Tampa to 12 when they played them. They held Buffalo last week, 27-17. I don't know how weak the Green Bay defense is, but I can tell you the Lions defense sucks. Anytime you bet on Detroit, you lose. If you bet against them, you lose. If you bet on them, you lose. The only way I'd play this game is over. I would never take Detroit in 10. It ain't going to happen. Green Bay, Rodgers owns them. They play twice a year. I think this is a high scoring game. But look at the Lions last week. They're up 14-0 on Miami and lose the game. Only Rodgers is better than Tagovailoa by a mile. So I don't know. Maybe Green Bay's starting to get it together. I don't like Green Bay in this situation. They're on the road favorite, but the Lions defense sucks. So I like Rodgers against that defense far greater than Goff against Green Bay's defense. But I wouldn't trust Goff. I wouldn't trust the Lions. Who's got the better coach? Detroit's got the worst coach in football, right? I would rather have the Georgia coach. I would rather have the Utah coach. I would rather have the UCLA coach, even though he's already played in the league. Give me Georgia's coach. Anybody's better than the Lions coach. I can be better than the Lions coach. So you have big problems there to want to play a team like Detroit who's won one game. That's not good handicapping. So you're playing hunches or whatever, but that's not, I don't want that out there. I don't want people to look at that and go, oh, he's playing Detroit in 10. I'm not playing Detroit in 10. No way. The Raiders 24-20. I don't know. I like the game under. I don't like the Raiders as a road favorite. They got shut out by New Orleans, and they've either stayed East Coast or they went back and forth. Either way, Jacksonville's got a pretty good defense. Trevor Lawrence sucks, but they're running the ball more. So if Jacksonville goes to this running game with Etnan and can't trust Lawrence or he runs, game's going to be under because it's going to turn into a running attack, which runs the clock, and you don't get points. So Buffalo destroys the Jets today. Buffalo on the road is a different team. The line's dropped from 12.5 to 10.5. I think the Jets. Why do you think that? Again, you're not giving an explanation. The Jets are a very good team. I looked at the standings. They're 5-3. They're not 1-6. See, this is the thing that people have to understand. You want the Z team changes every year. The teams change every year. So you've got to look at the Jets differently than you've been looking at them. They've made some changes. They're not the Z team. The Lions are the Z team. Pittsburgh and the Lions are the worst two teams. So you have to look. Why is Pitt? They don't have a quarterback. Why are the Lions? They don't have a coach and a defense. So you have to understand that. So it changes. The Jets are not. The Jets I have as a even team now. So they score in the mid-20s, and they have a pretty good defense because Salah's taken over, the Niner guy, and he's playing their defense, and they had a very good defense in San Francisco. They play each other twice a year, so the Jets aren't like, oh, my God, it's Buffalo. And let's not forget Buffalo on the road is not Buffalo at home. Case in point, Miami. Case in point, Baltimore. They don't do the same thing on the road. I think the Jets have a chance to win the game. I don't buy this 10.5 at all. I wouldn't lay 10.5 with Buffalo. Never. All right. Alan Jones. Hi, Alan. You're new. Give me some influence on one good football bet today, NFL. Give you some influence. I can give you a pick. So my free pick today is Seattle. I'm going to give you Seattle, and I'm going to give you the reason. Seattle was 9-2 as a road dog, and if you play against Arizona as a home favorite, 13-2 in teasers. So you got to do this as a teaser because I don't talk straight bets. Seattle's been playing well. They've been scoring a lot of points. They beat them 19-9 the first game. Arizona struggles at home, especially as a favorite. Take Seattle as a live dog in the game. Greg and John, fantasy football is big these? Do I think fantasy football is big these days? I have no idea. I never got involved with it because I don't. I look at the team. I could probably do very well in it because what I would do is look at who they're playing. So if you're playing Dallas, I'm not playing the opposing anybody on the offense. What I'm going to play is whoever Detroit plays. I'm going to play those players, right? So I'm going to play all the Green Bay players today against Detroit because they're going to put up 40 points. That's what I'm going to do. In case in point, Tennessee against Florida or Georgia, and Tennessee against Alabama. So against the weak team, Tennessee scores 52 on Alabama, and against Georgia they get 13. That's the point. Look at who they played. That's what I'm trying to teach. So when you play a good team like a Georgia, you're not getting the 50 points you got on Alabama or on Tennessee Martin or Florida or whoever you played when you play a strong defensive team. So it skews the look because you're looking and going, oh, they got 40 last week. They're going to get 40 this week. Case in point's the Lions, right? They get shut out by New England. Follow that up, getting 6 against Dallas. Should have got 13. They fumbled at the 1, but 6 points. They play Miami. They put up, 27 last week. So, again, they came alive. And it's the same thing in pitching. These idiots around here on the radio, and they'll sit there. And so, I'm driving my car to the grocery store, to the pool or something. And and they're all excited. Oh, look at the Lions. Oh, this happened yesterday too. Let me get to that. Look at the Tigers. Oh, they're starting to hit. Yeah, the pitcher they played was against Kansas City with a 10 ERA that I could have. Me and Bobby could have. We would hit 350 against them because they're lousy pitchers. So we look good against them, and then all of a sudden they play an ace. They play McCullough, let's say, and all of a sudden they get shut out and they don't say anything. So they're not emphasizing who they're playing. Now, case in point, yesterday, I'm watching the halftime, right, of one of these games, and Kansas was beating Oklahoma State or had already beat them, and they were like, "Ooh, look at Kansas over Oklahoma State." You think the idiots would have said, "Oh, wait, but Spencer Sanders is out and they got the backup playing." So really they beat the backup, not Spencer Sanders. So you didn't really beat Oak State. You beat a depleted Oak State team. But they don't say that, right? Oh, look at Kansas. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing on TV? You don't even understand the most basic concept. If the quarterback's out and you beat him, it doesn't really count. Okay, so that's what you got to do. Don, why would you play Tennessee if I'm giving Georgia out as a free play? Shame on you, Don. If you're going to come and you're going to listen to me, then you got to at least go with me, or don't complain that you lose picking against me. If you want to pick against me, you can, but you're going to lose. Tennessee covered. If you got them at 9, how did they cover? They lost by 14. They didn't cover. Georgia won. Zach Wilson won't move the ball. I disagree. Half their wins are flukes. I disagree. Jets are pretty good and should be close game. That's what I think. Pats at home against a rookie quarterback seems a lock. Yeah, we saw them against Fields. They looked really locked. They have problems with running quarterbacks. Now, they got Indy with Ellinger. Ellinger's a really good quarterback, but he hasn't played yet. Taylor's out, so that makes it hard. But then you got to trust Jones at New England, which I don't trust. And why they're not playing Zappe, the only thing I can think of is he wants to trade Jones. So he knows he's got Zappe. He knows he's good. He's showcasing Jones. He knows they suck this year anyway. They do not know how to draft a wide receiver. I've never seen any crap like this. New England, there can be 10 good wide receivers and one bad one. They'll draft the bad one. I don't understand what it is that they do that they can't understand. Take a guy from Baylor, from Oak State, from Texas, from USC, UCLA, Utah. They're fucking loaded with wide receivers. LSU, you take a guy who sucks. I mean, all the time. I don't know what in the God's name does New England do. They do not know how to draft wide receivers. But anyway, well, maybe, but not with Jones. So again, this is to me an under game. This is not a game that New England's going to win. I don't trust New England at all. Who Pats playing? The Pats are playing Indy. Ella Jones, thanks. You went to the game I was talking about. Okay. Ryan, plus 15 in a teaser. Okay. Alan, hi, brother. Hey. Okay. That's your brother. How do I get your picks? I'm kind of computer illiterate. Well, just go on www.teaserking.com. So you're on the internet now, obviously on YouTube. So go to that website and then just go purchase picks, and then it's going to take you to PayPal, and you enter a credit or debit card, and then it takes it, and then it gives you a password, and then you go back to Teaserking, and it says picks, or you can email me going, I don't know how to do that. Just I'll see that you paid me and give you the picks. So that's all you got to do, Alan. www.teaserking.com. All right, let me get to the games here. More importantly, so Green Bay 4.5, 49.5 against Detroit. We've got, what time is it? 12. Okay, we got an hour. Green Bay 4.5, 40. So the line moved up from 3.5. We know the Lions suck defensively. They can't. If they played college Tennessee would put up 50 points on them. So Rodgers has been having problems, and I'm sure he's licking his chops going, thank God we got Detroit. When they played Buffalo, they were like, oh, my God. But when they played Detroit, they got the smile on their face. Look at Miami with Tagliavua, got the smile, oh, he had a big game. They weren't even throwing pass patterns. He was just lobbing the ball up, and then Hill was out jumping the Detroit guys and catching the ball. It wasn't even receivers. It was Sandlot. Rodgers will have a big day. I think Detroit will have a big day because Green Bay, their defense is okay. Detroit, they got the strain. Even if they're down, they're down 20. They get 2 late touchdowns to look like they played a good game. I think this game goes over 49.5 to 43.5, 24-20, and it's definitely going to be over that. They played a 58 with Miami, and again, Rodgers, I think he breaks out today. I wouldn't bet a lot on this game, but I think it's an over. San Diego, Atlanta, San Diego 2.5, 49.5 over Atlanta. Cordell Patterson's playing today. That's going to help Atlanta. San Diego is missing Keenan Allen and Williams, the receivers. So I like Atlanta and the 8.5, and I like the game over because, again, San Diego scores with Herbert, and Atlanta, I don't know how they're doing it. They're scoring. They both have weak defenses, so they're both over teams. Mariota's doing a lot of running, I guess. So I've got Atlanta scoring on San Diego, and with Bosa's out, San Diego scoring even without. They've been scoring without Keenan Allen anyway. He played a game. Now he's still hurt. Williams is out, but they'll have other receivers, and Eckler's playing. So I look at this game for 24-20. That'll be a halftime score in an Atlanta game. They did that for me against Cincinnati. I had the exact bet, and it was 24-20 at halftime. I won the over at halftime. So did you see the over in the Houston SMU game? That was a lock for me yesterday. It was 60 was the lock in the teaser, 66 down to 60. It was 87 at halftime. It was 50-37 at fucking halftime, SMU Houston. And the final was a 77-65. It was a 140-point game. I couldn't believe it. But that's how I like my overs to go. At halftime, 87, and I had over 60. Unbelievable. I hope I get it in the Atlanta-San Diego game, but I don't think – it doesn't happen like this in the pros. But I do like the game over. Again, to the theory, we're betting against weak defenses with good quarterback. Well, Mariota's not a good quarterback, but they are scoring, and they got Patterson back. San Diego will score with Herbert. So I definitely – that's my free play. Take this game over. And I gave you the Seattle game. Take Seattle. There you go. That's your free teaser. Oakland, Jacksonville. Oakland laying 2.5, 47.5. I wouldn't touch Oakland. I can't touch Trevor Lawrence. He sucks. So I figure they're going to run Etnine more. Jacksonville's got a pretty good defense. Oakland doesn't have a defense. Lawrence can't take advantage of the defense. So I like the game under. It's 47.5. Under 53.5. Won't get close. Must be something about this spot where I'm always like sniffling. This game will not, 53.5. Are you kidding? In this game? Not a chance. Where are you going to get it from? Oakland, remember, or Jacksonville played a 13-6 game with Houston. You can't bet Oakland without a defense, and you can't bet Jacksonville without an offense. So that's why I play a lot of over and unders. I have no idea. I would play Jacksonville as a home dog before I'd play Oakland as a road favorite, especially playing in New Orleans. They either went back home or stayed. Either way, it's not a good spot for Oakland. Keep them on the West Coast, maybe, but I don't like. I like the game under. Miami and the Bears. Miami 4 and 46.5. It's been going up. I like the Bears and I like the over. I like the Bears. The last 2 weeks, they killed New England. So everybody, well, it's a fluke. New England can't handle a running quarterback. Well, Dallas can handle a running quarterback, and they put up 29 on Dallas. So the Bears are scoring. So that what they're doing with Fields is he's not even throwing the ball anymore. He's just running the ball. He'll run the ball 20 times a game, and he's big, and that's all. That's their offense now. They're playing single wing 1945 Army Navy football where they're just Roger Staubach's running in a single T running around. That's what the Bears are doing. There's no passing. They don't know how to pass. Fields couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So they're just running, but they're scoring. So Miami, we know, is going to score. So I like the game over, and you can see the over going up. I gave the over on my show Friday when I did my marathon because I couldn't do it Thursday. This game's definitely an over all day with these two teams because Miami's going to score, and they don't have a defense either. Now, the difference in the college and the pros defensive numbers, college, you got a bunch of teams giving up 30 points, right? In the pros, you don't. You have teams giving up. Buffalo's doesn't count at 14 or 15. Then you got a bunch at 19, 20, 21, 20. The whole league's between 19 and 25 is the whole league. So I don't know what an over and an under is, but if they give up like 24, 25, and that's where Miami and the Bears are. They're 24, 25. That's where San Diego, Atlanta is. So I'm taking those going, okay, they can't have good defenses. Now we know it's so erratic. What the hell's going on here? Because you'll have, look at the Dallas game, right? They're playing under, lock, winning. They play Philly. We still win it under. And then they play Chicago, which should be a easy under with two good defensive teams. Bears aren't a good defensive team anymore, and Prescott comes back, and all of a sudden they put up 49 against the Bears, really? So they didn't put up 49 against the Lions, so that's a surprise. So that was totally a shock what happened. But I think that Miami will light up the Bears, and I think the Bears are capable of 20 or 30 in the games. This should be a 60-point game. We got an over-under just moved up from 43.5 to 45.5 to 46.5. So this is definitely a good under bet, a good over bet. My apologies. Indy, New England laying 4.5, 40.5. Good luck. Do you trust New England? No. Didn't Indy win last week? Week 8, Indy lost to Washington 17-16. Okay, Washington's not a real team either. But I don't think New England's, Tom Brady ain't there. This team sucks. Matt Jones sucks. You got Zappy sitting there, the best quarterback on your team, and you're not playing him. Just blows my mind. That's Matt Patricia, I guess. I don't know who's making that decision. It's a horrible decision. Too many turnovers. He's terrible. Indy, though, going with Ellinger from Texas. I like him. He's much better than Matt Ryan. I don't think you'll see Matt Ryan again. Now he's out with the shoulder, which is probably a lie, but they're not going to play him. So Ellinger's going to take a while. He'll have trouble with the New England defense. I think this is an under game because you can't trust, Ellinger against New England, you can't trust, but you can't trust Jones to light it up. Indy's got a pretty good defense, so I like this game under, I think. Carolina, Cincy 7, 42.5. Now here's the trend of the day. Carolina 20-4 is a road dog, 16-1 the last 17. Cincinnati doesn't have whatchamacallit, Chase, since he struggled with Cleveland, for Christ's sake, and that defense. I like Carolina in 13. PJ Walker looks fine. I watched the Atlanta highlights. He looked fine. They're going to score. They don't need McCaffrey. They don't certainly need. They're better off with PJ Walker than with Mayfield. So I like Carolina in 13 here. I think they could win the game. I love Cincinnati and Burrow, but not the way they're playing. Minnesota, Washington. Minnesota lane 3, 43.5. Minnesota is a strange team. They're 7-1 as a road favorite, 8-0 against as a road favorite, meaning all their games on the road as a favorite are close. They don't blow anybody out. Washington is a better team with Heineke. I kind of like the game over with Heineke, 43.5. I don't know. Do you want Minnesota +3? Do you want Washington and 9? Who do you trust? Maybe Minnesota's got a few more weapons with Cook and Jefferson. So maybe you take Minnesota plus the 3. I don't mind those. Yeah, what's up, Bobby? YouTube, don't send me the notification you went live. I just did, and with the time, but keep in mind it's daylight savings. You had LSU last night, but got killed because of Clemson. Yeah, Clemson. Why didn't they switch quarterbacks? That was strange. Well, they didn't play their quarterback. I was expecting the other quarterback who's good. I thought, okay, they'll start the guy and they'll get off of him, and the coach should be fired. What is he doing? He clearly bet on Notre Dame. But, yeah, the Georgia game, that was the beautiful pick. And then I actually had Alabama LSU over, which I got in overtime. But, yeah, Clemson, I don't know. I wish I would have got you the UCLA over or the Houston over. I had both of those locked. All right, so Mini Washington, I think Mini wins. I think it'll be a close game. I think over 43 is good with all that. Dabo's that. How do you keep starting the guy? It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh my God! Yeah, he's losing his mind. They won't. They're not even. They won't. They won't even win the ACC now. All right, so Mini, I think you could play. Well, this is going to be a close game. Now, if Washington was favored, then you block Minnesota, right? But you can't lock Minnesota. You can't lock Washington. So that's how the lock comes, is if you get the right team as the dog, not here. And I have Mini laying 4. I think Carolina could be almost a lock. They're not, but I that's a team that's playing well, getting 13. Cincy without Chase. Why is that line 7? They don't have Chase. That line should be 3. See, they're not adjusting the line to Chase being out. And they haven't replaced Chase. And yes, you got Joe Burrow, but look at the Cleveland game. He was lost without Chase. That's his. I throw it to Chase for 5 yards. He breaks 3 tackles and goes 50 yards for a touchdown. You can't replace that. But the line isn't adjusted. It's Cincy -7. What the fuck are you doing? That line should be 3 at the most. So we're taking advantage with Carolina. That's why you listen to me. Mini -3, they probably will win. I'd rather get them +3.5, but +3. I like the game over. I think they score, but Mini has a way of not scoring, so it's a real strange game, the Mini Washington. Buffalo and the Jets, Jets lane 10.5, 45.5. My line was Buffalo -10. I think it's a big line in New York. This is not the Z team, New York Jets, with no offense. This is a team that's very good. Now, yes, you've said, well, who did they beat? Miami with their 3rd-string quarterback. Okay. Then they beat who? They beat Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. He was playing. And then they beat somebody else. I think they lost last week. Week 7, they beat Denver. I don't think Russell Wilson played. And then they were off last week, I believe. So, or no, they lost to New England by 5. They held New England to 18 field goals, and then they scored late. So is Buffalo's defense as good as New England's? They play each other twice a year. I looked at the history. Buffalo blows them out most of the time, even in New York. Okay, so we will see. I do not love Buffalo laying 4. I don't really love anybody in the NFL laying 4 to anybody. But I don't think the Jets are that bad. That's the problem. Well, now Vegas isn't rigging the lines. You can't rig the lines. It's up to me to figure out the bad, like Cincinnati -7, and say, we're taking Carolina. That's what my job is, to figure out. I do that with Georgia all the time. You made Georgia a 65 over under. Seriously? Have you seen Georgia get a 70-point game in the last 5 years with that defense? That is never happening. So they don't rig the lines. They just make bad ones. And if you got me, you avoid the bad lines and you go, oh, and you take advantage of Georgia laying 65. An over under a 65 in a Georgia game should have been an automatic lock of under 71, which you would never have sweated. But we took Georgia -2 because it was even a better line, knowing the type of defense Tennessee had, that Georgia would have no problem. So if it was Alabama, then it would have been an under. But because it was Tennessee, it was take Georgia -2. But that's a bad line. But we read that. We understand the bad line. That's what I'm here for. So Buffalo -10 is too high. Even though I have it as a -10, that's what I think the line is. I don't think it's a good line. I think it's too much. They beat Green Bay by 10. It should have been 24, but they didn't want to win by more than 10 last week because the line was 10.5. And this is the problem with the league. Is there any way Buffalo can win by more than 10 today? I doubt it, because you can win by 10, but no more, because everybody's betting on you. And that's the other factor you have to factor in. I think the Jets in 16 probably keep the game close. Buffalo doesn't tend to blow out. See, everybody looks at the Tennessee game or the Ram game and going, well, Buffalo blows out everybody. Well, they didn't blow out Green Bay last week. They didn't blow out at Baltimore or at Miami. They should have lost both those games. They did lose to Miami. So on the road, teams are different. And the Jets are playing much better defense, and that's really the key here. So I think the Jets can definitely hang on. Over under 45.5. I think it's an under game, because the Jets have a good defense, and they held New England to 5 field goals last week, or 6 field goals. It was 22-17. So what? They scored 7 and kicked 50. They got 5 field goals, but the Jets are holding them to 5 field goals. And all you got to do to beat Josh Allen is blitz him. If you blitz him, he collapses. He's like Stafford that way. So keep that in mind. If you can blitz him, that's how you beat him. Seattle, Arizona lane 248.5. I absolutely love Seattle as the live dog here. Seattle 9-2 is a road dog. I think they're like 17-3 if you go back like 3 or 4 years, which I don't know if you can do because you don't have Russell Wilson. So that's why I'm saying the 9-2. And then play against Arizona as a home favorite, 13-2, and that's with Kyler Murray and the chucklehead coach they got. 13-2 against. Arizona is a horrible home team. Seattle should be favored here. They have the better team. They have the better offense. Both these teams are over defenses, so this should be. Now, I bet this over 3 weeks ago, and it was 19-9. What the fuck was that? How do you play a 19-9? But I got Metcalf and I got Lockett playing, and I like Seattle and the 8 here. I think they'll win the game straight out. Bobby, it was a great pick, but they didn't show up. Phil, Miami did me, and they switched quarterbacks several times. Nothing helped. Well, Miami was supposed to play. Van Dyke was playing, and then he must have hurt his shoulder. That's why he was out, and he was in the end zone, and he tried to just throw it out of bounds, and he hurt his shoulder again. So once you lost Van Dyke, then the game was over, unfortunately. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. It was not a very good game, but it wasn't a game you get all excited about. I would have rather have seen you on Georgia or UCLA over, or obviously the Houston over. or I had Michigan. So that's where I had so many games yesterday. Yeah, Dabu is an idiot and lose credibility. I don't know nobody knows what he's doing. You clearly have this guy who's a backup who's much better. You're praying the starter gets injured so then he can go to the backup. Greg John, many will win. I don't know. I mean, but they're playing well this year. I mean, it's funny. If you look at the records, it doesn't fit. Minnie's 6-1, Green Bay's 3-3 or 4-3 or something. Tampa's 3-4. Nothing makes sense. Green Bay's 3-3, Tampa's 3-4. All the teams you think will be 6-1 aren't, and all the teams you think will be 3-3, like Minnesota, are 6-1. So I would ride Mini just by that. Vegas is rigging the lines. Well, we know that. They wait till silver go through the roof. Yeah, like I said, they're not bad lines. They're just that. Bills win by double today. Hey, Alex, are we playing today? Did you want to play a pro one? Yeah, that Oak State quarterback killed us, but everything else went in, and then the Washington State under. Seattle's a good team. Seattle's a very good team because the quarterback's fine. It's always you're good with the quarterback play. The problem is the Tampa Bay and the Green Bay with the great quarterbacks don't have great lines. Although for Julio Jones to play, Tampa's going to play today when he lights it up. Okay, I'll send you one shortly. Let's see. Well, you already have the one I gave you we were going to play anyway, but I'll give you 4 or 5 others. So let's see. So Seattle, LA, Tampa, Tampa Lane 3, 42.5 at home. They're both under teams, but the Rams defense is not that good. It's the mid-20s where Tampa's is a 20. Like I said, the whole league's between 19 and 25. Except for the Lions, which I think is at 28. The Lions have the worst defense, and followed by, I think, Pittsburgh's not somebody else. I think Arizona's pretty close behind. I like Tampa in the game. I don't know why you'd like LA going to Tampa. Tampa needs it. Now they've needed the last 4 or 5 because they lost. I know. But now this is the first time they're not in first place. They're 3-4. Atlanta's 4-3. Atlanta's got San Diego at home, probably a win. Another live dog there in Atlanta, especially with Keenan Allen out. And here you got, Julio Jones playing. What else can I say? And some defensive guys are back. They still miss Winfield. And they still miss Brate, the tight end. There's no Gronk to throw to, although Fournette's playing. So they should have some balance. I don't know how strong the Rams' defense is. I remember the Rams lit them up a couple of years ago. They just killed them. But this Ram team, they played the Niners twice. They lost 24-9 both games, okay? I don't know what's going on with them. They are not very good. I like the game under, to tell you the truth. The best way, I think, to play it, since both these teams aren't scoring, is to play the game 42.5 under 48.5. I think that's the best way. Again, I don't trust the Rams in 9 and Stafford. Tampa, this is it because they are now in second place. This is the final, nail in the coffin if they lose. Although Atlanta could lose to San Diego and, they're right back in first. So I think Tampa gets the win at home today, but it'll be a close game and it'll be low scoring. Probably. Tennessee, KC 12.5, 45.5. Tannehill is playing, and we know Henry's playing against Mahomes and the boys. So Tennessee, good defense, no offense. They're going to run Henry to death. KC over team, over defense. Is this going to be an Army-Navy game? Is Tennessee going to run Henry 45 times and milk the clock like they did last week? What was the score last week? Tennessee played Houston 17-10, and I think he ran 35 times, Henry. And I think that's what they're going to try to do now. The question is Kansas City. Kansas City gets 21-0 lead, you can't run Henry 45 times. If Tannehill starts throwing, there's going to be interceptions and it's going to be a blowout. If Tennessee gets the lead and can run Henry 45 times and KC can't stop him, then this game's not going to hit 20. So that's what you have is what is Tennessee able to do and what's KC able to do? Well, we know Mahomes, 12.5 is a big number. I mean, Tennessee's got a good defense. So, again, it gets to how much do we want to play KC against a really good defense in Tennessee versus Tennessee with Tannehill. But KC doesn't have that shutdown defense. So that's what stops me from laying 12.5 or even 6.5 in this game is I don't have a good defense. They do. And they could come up and make stops, put pressure on Mahomes. They certainly play him enough in the playoffs where they do get buried by him in the playoffs, but that was with Hill, and Hill's not there anymore. So it's a tough game. Honestly, don't have a good pick on the game. I don't know. This game's, a 10-point game maybe. I think you can go either way. Maybe you take KC, the 6.5. Tennessee's not a strong road dog. KC's good at home, not a great home favorite, but because they're laying 12.5. KC wins, but they could win by 3 or 4 very easily, or 6 if they keep going for 2-point conversions. So be careful with this game. It's too big of a spread to get excited on. In the last game, Baltimore, New Orleans. Baltimore laying 1.5, 47.5. Why is Baltimore favored? This is why is this team favored? New Orleans should be a 3-point favorite in the game. Not only is Bateman out, but the tight end Andrews is doubtful. So the only guys that Lamar Jackson, who can't throw anyway, could throw to are these two who are out. Gus Edwards is out. So, and the J.K. Dobbins, the Ohio State guy's out. So how is Baltimore going to score in this game? And then we know New Orleans, Andy Dalton, as long as Kamara's out there, I'm looking at that Oakland game going, why did Oakland get shut out last week? And all I saw was Kamara running it, and I saw Dalton looking great, and they're at home, and it's Monday night that I don't really care about that. But New Orleans at home just shut out Oakland. Why is Baltimore favorite? I like New Orleans here all day long, and I'm getting I got 8, 7.5, over 7 with the team that probably will win the game fairly easily, like they did last week. I just don't see New Orleans is a strong. They got Dalton's fine, and they got Kamara, and that's the difference in the game. Kamara, Lamar Jackson can do his little dance. Now, here's where I heard the BetMGM idiots. Well, Lamar Jackson, when he plays a team for the first time, is like 14-3. Well, that's probably the first year he probably played, except for the 3 teams in the division, 11 teams that he hadn't seen. And this is the problem listening to these morons and listening to that type of statistic. That's a stupid stat. If somebody comes at you with that stat, you got to just go, this guy's a fucking moron. Because what is he saying? Well, if they play, so they haven't played New Orleans. So what? New Orleans has no tape on Lamar Jackson. They haven't seen Kyler Murray. They haven't seen Mariota in their division. They haven't seen a running quarterback. So they're just going to go, oh, my God, this isn't Army and Navy who you've never seen and you're not used to the speed on the option. This is fucking Lamar Jackson. You've seen Kyler Murray, and you've seen Mariota this year. So don't go there. That's a stupid stat. Look at New Orleans. I'm not playing Baltimore because Lamar Jackson, especially when the first year, he won 11, 12 games. So that's 12 teams in the first time they played him, he beat. He's 14-3. So that's 12 of them, and that was 3-4 years ago. So what has he done lately? Lost 3 games, right? That's the stupidest stat. So ignore that. Again, I was talking these idiots like Tennessee. All the money in Vegas was going on Tennessee supposedly yesterday, but somebody needs to explain to me why the line went to 9.5 if all the money is going on Tennessee. They said one guy bet $4 million on Tennessee and 8.5. Well, why would the line go to 9.5 if this idiot bet $4 million? See, if the guy calls me, he doesn't bet $4 million on Tennessee. He bets it on Georgia and he wins. That's why you come to me, get the look, and then I might be wrong, but I'm going to give you the good look of what the hell's going on, like Baltimore, New Orleans today. Okay, Alex, I will send you very shortly. Phil, Keenan Allen reminds me of Julio Jones. He's always injured, it seems. They're the same player, actually. Greg and John, Rams are a bad team. They won the Super Bowl and are just back to just being not that great. Can somebody explain how the Rams even got to the Super Bowl? They were not a great team last year. The Niners were better, and had they intercepted that pass, they would have won the game. But the guy drops the ball with like 4 minutes left, and then the Rams score. How did they beat Cincinnati is another story, but Cincinnati and the Rams were not the best two teams last year. I mean, it's clearly Buffalo and KC were the best two teams and kind of got knocked each other out. Tennessee is playing better. Pro Tennessee, I assume. Yeah, I mean, well, they got a good – I like the coach. He's good. Ken, hi, Ken. Do you start watching weather reports now as we hit November? Yeah, I mean, very much so. I was very worried about the Oklahoma game. I locked Baylor, Oklahoma over. I was very worried about the TCU, Texas Tech game, the Kansas State, Texas game. Dick had said he had heard about tornadoes, but he heard about them Monday. They obviously didn't happen because Texas, Kansas State went to 70. Texas Tech was 70. A&M. So I'm watching the A&M game at noon, and it's 45-35. I don't see any wind. So I'm like, okay, no tornadoes in Texas and Oklahoma area. But you know where the wind was in Illinois and Michigan. Illinois had huge wind. Northwestern Ohio State was a very windy game, as was Michigan State, Illinois. I like the under in the Illinois game, but how did Michigan State win it? Blew my mind. But I don't. Detroit's in a dome anyway today, so it doesn't really matter. I haven't been outside yet. But yes, I watch the weather every week. More or less what I'm worried about is wind. You can play in rain. It's okay. You can play in snow. I've seen high-scoring games in snow. I've seen the Ice Bowl where they played 21-17 Bart Starr quarterback sneak. They got a 38 in that game, and it was 16 below. So the only thing that I know that really fucks up a game is the wind. I've seen too many games where it's a very windy game. You can't move. You can't throw deep, so the defense is up. There's just no scoring in it. So if you know of a very strong wind, it's going to affect it, like the Michigan State-Illinois game. And even then, I don't think the wind really affected it. It was more the Northwestern game, but it was really Northwestern was hitting in Ohio State like they have never been hit. They were physical with Ohio State. If only they had an offense, they would have won the game. But, that's the only thing that you're like. I worry about Buffalo with the wind off the lake or Cleveland. Those are the two where I really worry the most, not so much California, Texas, maybe Oklahoma and Kansas, but we got away from that. But you need to look at the weather. Mostly you watch the line. If you're not sure, watch the line. And if the line drops 3 or 4 points, there's weather. And if the line doesn't move, there's no weather. Because Vegas, that's one thing they'll do is they'll adjust. Like once Sanders was out for Oak State yesterday, the line dropped from 65 to 60. And the line went from Kansas -1 to Kansas -3. I don't know why -3, not -7. But as soon as I saw that, I knew Sanders was out. Problem is, we already played it because the over-unders in college, I tried to play early because they all move 5 points. Normally, like UCLA, got it in at 60. There was one I got in at 57. I think Baylor, Oklahoma, 57. I bet it goes to 61. And UCLA 62 goes to 66. So on Monday, I got them, and then they all move. So that's why I tend to bet the over-unders early, because I know who I want. I know the bet, and then you can see they move 4 or 5 points. So that's what happens. So be careful with that. Let me do a quick email to Alex so he can get our bet in. So what I do with Alex is we bet. I'm going to give him 5 or 6 games, and then he does a teaser and he sends me the slip, and then if we win, I get 20%. If we lose, I don't get anything. It's not a big bet. Maybe he bets $50 to win 500. So I get 20% of that. We're throwing doing it all. Okay, so let's go. Where are you? Oh, I'm sending you a new one, Alex. Bear with me 1 second. All right, Alex, I just sent it to you. Apologize, everybody, but with the time constraint, I had to get it in. So Nick just sent me an interesting question. He says, should I play Georgia to win it all? It's like plus 110. And the answer is, of course. Nobody can beat Georgia. The only team that can beat Georgia is a defensive team, which you can't find. Probably the best is Iowa State, which ain't going to make the playoff. Iowa, and really Washington State, who's not going to be in there. So it's a Washington State, Iowa State, who's going to give Georgia problems because they have great defenses. But that's not what you got. They're going to kill LSU, and they're going to then – who do they got in the playoff? Ohio State, Michigan. Well, it's going to be Ohio State. What it should be and what it is it's going to be Ohio State. It's going to be Georgia. It's going to be it should be Utah or whoever wins USC, UCLA should be the third member. And then TCU, if they keep winning, should be that. So TCU is an offensive team. UCLA, USC, Utah, Oregon. Well, they already killed Oregon, and they won't be in it. So to be maybe USC, UCLA. You can't put Alabama in now with 2 losses. LSU's going to they already have 2 losses, I think. Tennessee, are you going to put Tennessee in? They just got crushed by Georgia. They're not going to be even in the SEC championship game. So I don't know how you put Tennessee in. So I think you got to go to Baylor. You go to USC, UCLA winner, and you go to Georgia and Ohio State. Ohio State will beat Michigan. Michigan doesn't have a good quarterback. So that's your 4. Can any of them beat them? Baylor, offensive team. UCLA, USC, offensive team. Ohio State, offensive team. There's nobody. So Georgia, yeah, that's a very good play, Nick, to go over. Let's see what else. So we've gone through the injuries in the line. It's pretty much the NFL basically sucks, right? There's no Georgias in it. There's no Tennessees. You look for them, but I can't name you a Georgia in here, right? I can't name you a Baylor or TCU in here or Utah or UCLA. There's no strong offense. The strongest offense is Buffalo, which I question because of Josh Allen, or Kansas City. Those are your 2 strong offenses, but they're over. KC's an over team. They're not Georgia. Georgia has a very strong offense with a very strong running game and a great tight end in Bowers and a good quarterback with a superstar defense that you get hurried 20 times, right? And I knew that was going to happen. That's why I bet them under all the time, because the other team has no chance They're not going to drop back and throw. Okay. I don't care if it's Brady, if it's Peyton Manning, if it's Drew Brees. You're not going to get time. Hooker's a good quarterback. You don't get time. They blitz, but they know how to blitz, and they have the speed, and you can just see, and they can cover. So nobody's open, and you got 3 seconds, and you're going to get sacked. That's how Georgia plays. And I don't have a team in the NFL that can do that. I don't even have teams in the NFL that are any good. Philly, are they that good? I don't know. Hurts, maybe. They're probably the only 8 teams I got are Philadelphia, Buffalo, and that's it. KC's not an A team. They don't have a strong enough defense. And Philly, Buffalo, maybe I have KC. No, KC's an over. I thought I had 3, but that's it. All these other teams are evens or unders. Or you get a San Diego with a good quarterback and Herbert, but there's no defense. And Atlanta, I don't know what they're doing offensively with Mariota, but they're scoring a lot, but they have no defense. Oakland, who knows? The problem is you can't figure out half these teams. They're all over the place. Let's go for 4th down. So I'm watching the Illinois game. What do? 4th and 1. Early in the game, they get to the interception. They drive down to the 2-yard line. 4th and goal at the 2. They go for a touchdown. They don't kick the field goal. And guess what? They don't make it. They lose the game. Case in point, just kick your field goal, keep your momentum, 3-0. Then we'll make it 10-0, and we'll just keep Michigan State quiet. No. We got to go for it on 4th down because it's automatic. If we go for it on 4th down, we're going to get it. What the fuck is that? What is wrong with these coaches? The only one who won't, like Coach Pete. That's why Seattle's they're not fucking up because they know what to do with it. And then you got, you got Coach Pete, you got Belichick, who I don't know if he goes for it on 4th too much. The rest of these guys are a bunch of idiots. And I don't even know who half these coaches are. Buffalo goes for it way too much with that talent. Tampa, they're going for it way too much. It's these teams are losing because they go for 4th down. They give the other team the momentum. And let's face it, I bet you if somebody did the stats on it, how many 4th downs are converted? I bet it's less than 10%. Very few. And then if you do convert it, how often does it give you a touchdown? Versus if you don't get it, how many of those teams lose the game? And I bet you 90% of the time you go for it and don't get it, you lose the game. And nobody's factoring that into the whole 4th down, let's go for 4th down bullshit. And there's nothing you can do. It's like you just watch, and it's insane. You're watching this, and you know what's going to happen. You know they're not going to get it, and you know they're going to lose the game. And it's fucking up my over-unders because they'll be at the 10. Look at Illinois. Illinois is at the 2-yard line. Kick your field goal. I mean, they don't. And then next thing you know, and in the one game, in the the Washington State, I locked that under with Stanford. Should be an easy under, right? 30-0, Washington State. And I see the score at half, 42-7. I go, how the hell did that? 5 fumbles by Stanford in the first fucking half. 5 fumbles. And then I look later in the game, 3 times they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it. So that's 8 turnovers they had. Well, there's nothing you can do with that. Just idiotic coaching. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Now, the fumbles, that's even worse because that you didn't even go with. That's not even a coach. That's just the players can't. It was like one play fumble, like 3 drives in a row. Boom, boom, boom. And Washington State's got 28 points in the first quarter. You're like, oh, there goes my under. Bobby, quick question, Professor. Currently on a 17-hour fast, about to eat finally now. How long is your typical fast time? Well, keep in mind, you can drink water, tea, or coffee when you fast. You just cannot put any sugar or sweetener in it. So this is pure water. But if you want to do it, now, what is the point of your fast? Are you fasting to get healthy, or are you fasting just because you want to reset everything? If you're fasting because you're injured, your fast will heal. You won't have to go to a chiropractor if you fast. So what's called, I don't have your email. I can't send you this stuff, but he does a thing on a pathogy. I always have trouble pronouncing it. And what it is your body, after about 18 hours of fast, goes into hyperdrive, and it heals everything, right? It heals your liver, your kidneys, your blood pressure. If you got bad cancer cells in you, it'll kill them. It'll kill all your bad cells, but it doesn't really get into high gear until after 18 hours. When I normally do a fast because I don't feel good or I just want to clean myself, I'll do a 3-day fast. So I'll eat dinner, let's say Friday night at 6 o'clock, I eat dinner. I don't eat Saturday. I don't eat Sunday. And then I'll eat Monday night. It's 72 hours. You're fine. You just drink the water, drink your tea or coffee, and you're perfectly fine. You can't have your avocado or any whatever you're going to eat. You can't eat that, but it cleans your system. It kills all the bad. So what your body's going through is looking for energy. And so it sees a bad cell, it kills it. It sees you're hurting, your back's hurting. It cures it. It cleans it. It cleans your liver. It cleans your kidneys. Whatever is injured, your body will fix. Just like when you break your leg, right? You break your leg, your body fixes it, right? Well, if you don't eat, your body then looks for stuff, kills all the bad stuff, gets rid of your diabetes, gets rid of your high blood pressure. It cleans you and cures you, but you got to let it go. I would say now, if you haven't fasted before, and I don't mean it's a fast you can drink, right? You can have coffee, tea, water, no sugar, no sweet and low, no honey. So you can still go drink a gallon of water on it. And once you're off the carbs, you don't get that hungry, right? If you don't have carbs for a while, you won't get it. It helps everything, Bobby. It helps your whole body. It lowers your blood pressure and it lowers your blood sugar. So I don't do it. Well, I just did a 3-day fast maybe a month ago. I'll probably do another one after I come back from vacation because I can't control what I eat on the vacation. Like I can eat my avocados, right? I can't eat I'm not necessarily getting an avocado. Plus, when you go on vacation, you tend to eat earlier because they have the breakfast until 10 o'clock. So you've already paid for it. You've got to eat it. And that's what you're going to do. So it'll fix everything, Bobby. It'll fix you won't have to go to the chiropractor. You won't have to go to I don't go to the doctor anymore. If I don't feel good, I do a 3-day fast and I'm fine. Do I do it daily? What I do daily is I'll eat dinner at 6 and then I don't eat until lunch the next day. So I do an 18-hour fast every day. And I've never been healthier. Everything works very fine. And the girlfriends like it too, because it's everything's really fixed. Intermittent fasting, yes. But you want autography is what you do. Look at my doctor. I thought I gave you my doctor on here. Who he's I always forget the name of it. One of those, I want to say it starts with an H, but he explains it down to the science. But basically what you're doing is you're letting your body heal itself, and your body, like a broken bone, that's what it's meant to do. Bill, I fast from time to time, never on the weekends, though. Those are my best beer days. Yeah, you don't need to. And you do it in stages. So if your blood pressure, my blood pressure was 180. So I did a fast. I did it for months, the 18 hours. And once in a while, you got to do a few 18 hours, couple of weeks. Then you can do a 3-day fast. You really want to do a 3-day fast because that's 72 hours. And it's not hard because you're sleeping most of it. So eat dinner at 6 on Monday night. So Tuesday, all you're doing is skipping lunch and dinner, and you keep busy, and then you go to sleep, and that's another 12 hours. So now you're already into 36 hours by just skipping one day, right? Because you 24, you slept. It's now 36, 6 in the morning, and then by dinner time, it's already 48 hours. And if you can avoid that, you're going to go to sleep. It's going to be 60 hours, and then you eat long, what do you want to do? 66, 72, whenever you really get hungry. But if you kill the carbs make you hungry, the Fritos, the Oreos, the Pepsi, if you avoid that, So first you got to avoid that and eat what I do, the veggies, the meat. Go eat steaks and avocados and salads. Then you get to, and keep out the high fructose corn syrup. Then it's easier to go 18 hours. Then after maybe a month of that, then you can do a 3-day. I've never done a 5-day, but the 3 days seems to be good, the 72 hours. I lose weight. I fit into my clothes. I'm back from a size 42 waist to 36 waist. If you see my videos last year, I was a pig. But I lost all that weight. I keep it's very easy to keep off because you can eat a little bit of crap. Like, so once you get down to where you want to, your blood pressure's fine, you can eat a little. Oh, go have a piece of cake for your birthday. Once, that's it. And then you kind of make a fast day where you kind of clean your body from all that garbage. But that's the best way to do it. Your body will heal. This is why this class is top notch, because we discuss all these valuable topics. And well, thank you, Bobby. I only talk if I know. People like think I'm a know-it-all, and I'm like, well, no. I mean, I know football, and I know gold, and I know health. This stuff, but I wouldn't talk to you about engineering. I don't know engineering or certain other things. So I try to. But what I do is learn what I know. I learn very well, and you'd like this, Bobby. I was coaching girls softball. I have 2 daughters, and this is years ago, and they were like. So I was their coach for their fast pitch team, and one of the girls couldn't hit, and you had to teach. So you're trying to explain to a girl how to hit a ball or how to throw or how to catch. These were like maybe 3rd graders, and you're like, how do I, So you teach it, and they don't get. You can see in their eyes they don't have a clue. So you got to come out with 3 or 4 different mechanisms until they finally go. One girl was looking at her bat, not the ball, and she was trying to hit. So I had the fungo bat out, that hard rubber bat, and they hit the bat before the game. And this girl, I saw her looking at the bat, not the fungo. And I said, well, what are you looking at? She said, the bat. I said, no, you look at the ball. And then watch the ball, and that's what you hit. And then all of a sudden she started hitting terrible. She didn't know to look at the ball. She was looking at so you're just figuring these things out, but then you're able to explain it, and you just talk to them like I'm talking to you guys. I don't care they're 10, 12, 14. You talk to them just like this. That's what they like. They like to be talked to normally, and they'll listen, and then you see the results. And so you realize there's 3 or 4 different ways to teach, and I try to teach to what you guys will catch on to. But yeah, I mean, you should fast every quarter. You should do at least a 3-day fast, 72 hours. And again, it's not theoretically. You can have water, tea, and coffee. Just don't put any sweet and low type of product in the coffee or tea or water. And of course, no sugar and no honey. Even though honey's healthy, when you're fasting, don't drink it. It'll ruin the fast, even though you're thinking you're doing good. After that, if you want a little, honey's very healthy. I think that's why I stopped sneezing. I was drinking tea, and I had honey and cinnamon in it. And after the show, when I came back for the second show, I wasn't sneezing at all. I haven't sneezed since. Does anybody know anything about e-tickets? Like, do I need an e-ticket for my flight on Tuesday, or is it just I go there and it's all like computerized now, and I just type in my ticket and out comes the e-ticket on a machine? I don't know, but I'm hoping. I'm not worried. I got the ticket is paid for, but anyway. Yes, sir. That's a common thing kids do in Little League, right? When they're about to swing, they will take their eye off the ball and wonder why they missed a great pitch. I did it myself as a kid. I was very fortunate. Like, I started playing when I was 5. I could hit the ball. I don't know how or why, but I could feel it. So I'd keep my eye on the ball, and it's about 2 feet in front of me. I would never see me hit the ball, but I would crush the ball. I was a great hitter, but I couldn't explain it, but I see where the ball is, and I could swing to that point and crush the ball every time. I never struck out, and I played through Pony Colt. So I played till I was 15 years old. I don't think maybe I struck out a couple of times, but that's it. I always could hit the ball. And I always hit for big average too. I was a real good hitter. But that's, you can't really explain. How do you explain it? I don't see the bat hit the ball, but I could hit it every time. Anyway, so we got our football. We got 5 minutes. So review: Green Bay, Detroit. Take the over in the game because I think both teams' defenses suck, but Rodgers should light it up. San Diego, Atlanta, I like over, and Atlanta, Oakland, and Jacksonville, I like the under because I can't trust anybody there. Miami, Chicago, I like probably the game over. I don't know if I can trust Fields. Unless they're playing Purdue or Nebraska, I'm not betting on Fields. Indy, Nebraska, Indy, New England, maybe Nebraska, laying 4.5, 40.5. I like the game under with Jones. And again, Indy doesn't really have a quarterback, and supposedly Belichick knows how to handle Ellinger like he handled Fields, and Fields puts up 35 on him. Carolina, Cincy, I think the spread's too high. I like Carolina. They're 20-4 as a road dog. Cincy is without Chase, and they're not. That's the line with Chase. So I don't know what the hell is going on there. Mini 3, 43.5. I think Mini gets the win. It'll be a close game, 21-20. Tell you, maybe go over 37.5. Buffalo and the Jets. Buffalo minus 10.5. I think it's too many. 45.5 over under. I think it's an under game, and I think it'll be a relatively close game. I think the Jets in 16. I'm not going to play it. Would be the play, but we'll see. Arizona 2, 48.5 over Seattle. I like Seattle. They're the better team. They're getting points with the better team. Lockett and Metcalf are playing. I'm taking Seattle. I'm betting on Coach Pete there. Tampa 3, 42 against the Rams. Like the game under. Will Tampa finally score? Julio Jones is playing, so it must be a holiday or something. So I think Tampa wins. The Rams suck. I mean, they're just terrible. KC, I can't see him going cross country and beating Tampa, who really needs the game. I mean, they're bad, but they still got Brady and Jones and Evans are playing. So as bad as Tampa is, they need the game, and the Rams are going across the country. So I don't know. It'll be Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Duh. Why doesn't anybody just double team them and take them out? KC 12.5, 45.5. It's a big number. I don't know what to do in this game. It all depends who scores. If KC gets up, then they'll blow them out because Tennessee can't come back. If Tennessee takes the lead, they're going to run Henry 50 times. It turns into an Army-Navy game, and it'll be under and that. But I would think KC gets the win. And then Baltimore, New Orleans, wrong team favored. Bateman's out, and the tight end Andrews is out or very, very doubtful. He might try to play, but he's going to play injured. So New Orleans, fucking Kamara's playing. I'm betting on New Orleans getting points at home. You got to be kidding me. That makes no sense. So again, the free play will be the Atlanta, San Diego over with Seattle. And the free play yesterday was Georgia as proving my worth with that pick. Had 6 locks. No, I had 7 locks because I locked one with the pro today. I had UCLA in 2 locks, UCLA over. What a beautiful game that was. The only strange lock was the Washington State because of all the Stanford fumbles. Otherwise, Oak State would. Once I lock it, what am I supposed to do? Then Sanders doesn't play. Well, I'm fucked at that point, but there's nothing, if he plays, it's a good lock. Or, I had the Houston SMU lock over was like a joke. So anyway, that's what we got. I'll write up the next 2 weeks as I'll be on vacation. So I will be on Monday, and then Tuesday I'll be traveling and out of the country. So I don't know if I might do a real quick show, but it's up to what the girlfriend wants to do, and I'm sure we got other things we can do. So that'll be it. So anyway, good luck today. Hope you win. Keep in mind that there's very few good teams that you can trust. So it's a lot of dogs, And that's why I go to a lot of over-unders. I don't know what's going to happen in San Diego, Atlanta, but I know it's going to be high scoring. So I take the over. It's very hard to play the teams. I can't tell you Oakland beats Jacksonville, Miami beats the Bears, New England beats Indy. I can't tell you any of those because it's all scrambled eggs. They all suck. The best team, Buffalo, and the best team, Kansas City and Philadelphia. So look at Philadelphia, lane 13, win by 12. What a coincidence. They're lane 13 and they don't win by more than 13. 29 yet. So something strange. They obviously went for 2 and didn't get it, surprisingly, and they win by 12 when the line's 13. I'm shocked. So we got to understand FanDuel and BetMGM's involved, and you got to watch where the line goes. So I'd be shocked if KC won by more than 12.5, and I'd be shocked if Buffalo won by more than 10 today, based on FanDuel and everything. Stafford going to throw picks as well. Stafford sucks. Football, investment, and nutrition. Well, the nutrition, the girlfriend loves the diet because I keep her busy. Football college is so much easier. Again, I had a big week in college. Yeah, I lost to Clemson and the Washington State, and that was it. And then the Oak State game, that was, again, hidden from me. And I don't know Rising's playing, or I switch it to Utah. But once I play it, then I'm fucked, and I got to play it early because of the line movement. But otherwise, I was probably like 13-4. I haven't totaled it up yet, but that's it. Well, tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. I'll try to come on maybe Thursday or Friday. So I'll be in Portugal Wednesday. So maybe by Friday, I can take a half hour and do the show. I mean, I'll bring my laptop, and there'll be internet in the room. So we should be able to take a break and do it. My girlfriend's fine with that. She knows I do it. She doesn't care. You're welcome, Phil, and I hope you enjoy it. This is a class, so it's really more of a class on the show, but I make it fun and interesting the way classes should be. You should learn and have fun. They shouldn't be so, boring, and everybody's rolling their eyes and can't wait for the bell to leave. I notice that's not the case here. Is you guys keep me on for 3 hours a lot, where as long as you keep asking, I'm going to keep, reacting to you. As far as gold and silver and the whole thing, I think the reset happens in January. It's really close, but I don't think they want to fuck up people's Thanksgivings and Christmas. So I think January 2nd, all hell is going to break loose. Just like when they started the war right after the Olympics. So Putin, he's talking to China, and we're about to do the war. Oh, no, we're going to do the Olympics. Wait till the Olympics are over, then do the war. Oh, okay. And that's what happened, right? They did the Olympics. The next week, they started the war, or whatever this is. I don't know if it's a war, and it's between the U.S. and Russia. Don't believe it's between Russia and the Ukraine. It's between the U.S. and Russia. That's what's happening. So a new take on the gold real quick, and then I'll let you guys go, is that the banks are fucked. They've got all these derivatives, and they're short on the derivatives, and they're all going to get fucked, and they know it. And they're buying the gold as the protection because they can't get rid of the derivative. So it's the fire sale and margin call only. Nobody's buying. So their only alternative, so they don't lose $1 trillion, is to buy the silver and gold and offset it with physical versus dumping the paper. So they can't dump it. The only choice is, well, if we buy all we have in silver and gold, which we can't because there's more paper than there's actual physical, right? So I sell 100 bottles of these, but I only have 50. So what did I do? So I can't buy 100 bottles. There isn't 100 to buy. So with that being said, what's going to happen is they're buying the gold and silver, which is going to push the price through the roof, and they're not going to be able to get rid of the derivatives. So when they lose their money on the derivatives, they'll make it back with the physical. Problem is there ain't enough physical, and the price, it's disconnected. I think originally COMEX was it was never supposed to be to sell the gold. It was always supposed to kind of make the physical and the paper equal. but it's always been corrupt. And so now they're forcing the price down so they can buy more. And that's what we know, wink, wink. When they let the ball come out of the water, it's going to shoot way up, and that's the price. So we know the price. And when the dollar collapses, here's when the dollar collapses in real simple terms. When people don't trust it, it collapses. People still think it's good. They still have their money in the stock market. They still think everything's fine. But once they lose confidence in the dollar, and we can go back to the Roman Empire, we can go back to Britain. Once you don't have confidence that the money is worth anything, is when it ends. And how close are we to that? Me and you guys know the money's not worth anything. I got to get into gold and silver because this idiot prints it, because we understand inflation is overprinting the money. They're overprinting the money. We know they're overprinting the money. And with all the debt, they can't raise the interest rates. And the interest rates don't really stop inflation anyway. So knowing they're printing means we know the value is dropping. We know it. Most of these chuckleheads out there don't have a clue. Well, when they finally understand, as everything goes up in price, and they're going, oh, those bastards are raising the price of Oreos. They're not raising the price of Oreos. It takes more to buy it. And once people realize that the dollar is devalued and it takes more to buy it, and that's the real problem, and that's why they won't tell you, then that's when it collapses, because nobody wants it. Going back to my old lady scenario that we talked about, the beautiful 20-year-old turns into an ugly 60-year-old and nobody wants her. Well, they all wanted her when she was 20, but as she gets older and ages and she loses her looks, nobody wants her. That's the dollar. You got her. She's attractive. Now she's 40. She's still attractive. Now she's 60. I want the other 20-year-old girl. I don't want the 60-year-old. She doesn't look good. Nobody wants her. That's the US dollar. Nobody wants them. And it's just everybody else thinks, because of what happened in before, the Japanese, the Germans, the UK, the Chinese, Swiss, they all are dumping, getting into dollars because they don't realize the trap that the floor is gone and they're all piling on and they're all going to fall, because they don't realize that the dollar is not the answer. The gold and silver are. The Chinese know it, the Russians know it, and the Indians know it. But the Americans, Canadians, Brits, and half of Europe don't know it for some reason. So anyway, follow the central banks. The central banks are buying gold and silver as fast as they can. Just follow that. And if they ever say, oh, we want to take your gold, I don't have any gold. I don't know what you're talking about. Just find a place to store it. Don't store it in a bank or a government agency. Store it at a U-Haul little place where you would store stuff and mix it within stuff that nobody would ever think. I'm thinking my fridge or something where, so you're going to rob me. You're going to look for a safe, or you're going to look for money or jewelry, right? You got 5 minutes. Are you going to go look in the fridge? Are you going to look in the veggie hamper under the lettuce for gold or silver? Really? You're going to go right to the fridge. You're not going to go to the bedroom or these other areas. So find a clever hiding spot, hide it. And if you do leave some out, buy some brass. People will think it's gold. Let them take that. It's worthless. And, do a money heist on them. Anyway, let's go watch some football. It should be, I don't know. I think I'll watch the Sunday games. I just watched Alabama and LSU. And I watched the Georgia Tennessee yesterday. That was very enjoyable. I want to watch the UCLA over and enjoy that. But anyway, that's what you're looking for. You're looking to take advantage of weak defense, and you're looking to bet on strong defense. So where you can bet the Iowa State unders and the UCLA overs is what you're really looking for. Is that so? UCLA played Arizona State on over defense, and they put up 80 points. Same thing with Baylor, Oklahoma. Oklahoma, great offense, no defense. Baylor, great offense, decent defense. And there you go, another easy one. And Oak State, Kansas should have been But what happened was Oak State wasn't an over team anymore. Without their quarterback, they turned into like a Z team. No offense, no defense. Kansas is a strong offense with a weak defense. So Oak State, where this should have been an 80-point game without Sanders, and that's where the quarterback hurt us. And that's what you're looking for. Tennessee, Georgia, it was a fake. They're both A teams, but Tennessee you'd think has a good defense. But then you dig inside the numbers and you remember that Alabama game and they gave up 49 points. You go, no, they don't. Georgia's going to take advantage of that. But we know Georgia's got the strong defense. So that's what you look at. So in the pros, it's extremely difficult. Indy, New England should be an under game. 2 low-scoring defenses. We'll see. But that's what you got. Anyway, have a great day. I will talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to pack a little bit, and I got to figure out how to get my girlfriend a hotel room in Poland. She's got to train from Ukraine and then stay a night and then fly out the next day. I don't know if I can get her a hotel because if I use my credit card, don't they need me to go in and sign it? And I'm not going to be in Poland. I'm going to be in Lisbon. So I don't know how I can get her a hotel room. So I got to see that. Well, there you go. Yep. That's what you look. Well, you look for the weak defenses and the overs. All right. I'm out of here. Have a great day. And thank you for watching. I hope you learn. I love your questions. I just don't love when, if you're going to give me a pick, you got to come with why. So I don't want my show polluted with picks that aren't mine, that we don't know why you're saying it. And then I don't want my people betting those picks that I don't agree with on my class. So that's why I get a little bit. You want to give a pick, you can ask opinion, but if you want to give a pick out, you got to explain why. And I don't see that. I just say, oh, they're going to, Baltimore's going to win, but why? And you've got to answer that, just like the Bitcoin question. All right, everybody, have a good Sunday. Take care. Good luck. www.teaserking.com. If you want to get a hold of me, email me. All right, thank you.